Previously on Team Frontline, F, F, F minus, F plus, S plus, 4, L, P, tilde, B. Hey again, it's Hell Monkey Man. We've got another awesome grading session for our general managers and how they did during the Season 8 draft day. Now don't be confused, this is not, I repeat, not a tier list of teams versus teams. This is about how the general managers performed, who they picked up, why they picked them up, and when they picked them up during the draft day. If you want to know a power rankings list, that's going to come out later this week, just before we get into league play going to the weekend. So don't worry your pretty little head, we've got all that coming up. For the time being, it's about our general managers and how they did. So let's get started. This time around in Vanguard League, we have 12 teams. Avalanche and Bandits join us, but at the beginning of the draft, it is the Knights. Luckily, General Manager Ventrix was paying attention from all of the combines and the previous season, and he realized the top pick should be Rojas. Rojas was the #1 pick, and then we had to wait for everything to go all the way around. There's a double pick coming in at the end of round 2, going into round number 3. AJ above and Hero. This is my first tick against Ventrix, and mostly I believe that this is a pick based on friends. I believe that AJ above and Hero know each other, which is good in terms of chemistry, but there was some other options on the table just between them and before Hero. Hero to me as a GM is a bit of a misnomer, maybe a bit of a mystery, so you're leaving this up to AJ above to make the suggestion, which is good. Same thing can be said for myself when I was asking Tone about Sean B, but that again is not your strategy as much as it is your team strategy. So he left JCC on the table, who was immediately picked up later on, and then at the very end of his draft, Pt.2 came in. Pt.2 is one of those players that barely made the cut and to qualifying for Vanguard League. So not exactly sure about this pick. Could have gotten Infernal Dragon, who was very active in the draft and was, considerably much higher rated player. I don't know. This one is kind of a weird place for me to see the Knights. Rojas and AJ can probably perform. I have a lot of questions for this team. They can still be very good, but there's a lot to prove, especially when they're gonna have to play those 2 matches with Pt.2. Because of that pick, I'm gonna have to give him a B+. This is a good team overall. Rojas is a very strong player, and he's gonna have a lot more on his shoulders this season than he did in the previous season. Actually, it may be a little bit better balance with AJ above. There's a lot of chemistry that I need to see between him and Hero, but Pt.2, that particular pick really weakens this team, and maybe Pt.2 will progress throughout the season, but there's a lot to wonder if they can be successful in those 2 matches required of him. Who knows? Moving on to the Phantoms, we have General Manager Arc, or Archaic, who is actually playing in this season for the Vanguard League, taking himself in the 2nd round, as is forced for the 1st round General Managers, and then near the delayed double pick area to the 2nd and then 3rd round, we had Fizzy and Devise, showed a lot of good promise from the combines, generally good players, but near the end of the 4th round, took a bit of a heart over head choice with Paganda. Lots of passion in the chat for good old Pug, but will that come back to bite them? He's shown some good promise in previous seasons. In recent seasons, hasn't really elevated to that level that we expect in Vanguard League, but again, brand new player, get to see if he's going to have that activity and that skill set for at least the minimum of 2 matches to work alongside Arc, Fizzy, and Devise. And there were still some players left on the board and available after those picked with Fizzy and Devise that then went to other general managers. To that end, I'm going to give him a B+. Solid team overall. Archaic is already a great player, great GM, does a lot of great research. Fizzy and Devise, they have some amazing potential and also just a lot of activity coming out of the combines. So I'm going to believe in those 3. It's this Pug pick that felt like a passion pick, and GMs they can be blinded by the chat and like the feel-good story of these kinds of things. We've seen it before. Sometimes it can turn into an amazing gold mine of untapped potential, and then other times it can be, well, this is going to be an early term trade. I got him because everyone thought he was popular and awesome, but is he going to perform? We get to see those golden moments, those isolated moments, at least in his 2 matches of minimum play that he must do with 2 of the 3 other players on his team. Pug, you gotta perform, or else this could come back to hurt your team and may see you as a free agent here soon. Led by General Manager Fly Parker, he's gonna be managing this one in the Vanguard League and playing in it in the Challenger League. for his first pickup. He got Maldi. Archaic had to choose himself, so second overall is an active pick. Maldi going third man in the first round. And after we saw everything with him and Rojas, obviously a great choice. Sauce, able to do very well in the combines, so generally a good kind of pickup man, fitting where he needs to. The main question I have about this particular draft, and a little confusion, is Zerk. Zerk was passed up by quite a few other GMs, which maybe saw him as kind of a sleeper pick for Fly Parker, but there were definitely some other pieces left on the board. I'm going to keep coming back to JCC, and then there were some other veterans that have been around for a minute that could do better. Zerk didn't do very well in the combines. He didn't do poorly, but if you're going at it from an objective point of view for the general managers, he didn't give anything to really shine. So maybe Fly Parker saw something in him that the rest did not, but you're looking at people like Ida Answer, Mr. P, T-Man, Rift, especially Zap. So this one's a little confusing. Now, what isn't confusing is Pax. Even though it's a little bit of a meme, he's back and he's trying to make this even better. He's been in the league before, he's been with us, and he was the best of more recent ranks than the remainder of other players that were left on the board and ultimately were not drafted. So this was a good bit to round out, and I think Pax may end up surpassing Zerk. This one, it could turn into a trade situation. I think the Bandits didn't go into it, especially Fly Parker didn't go into it with that in mind, but there's a lot of questions, big question marks, surrounding Zerk and myself as well. Because of that, I'm gonna give them an A-. Very good first pick. Sauce we saw perform well in the combines with a lot of different people, so that's gonna be a good combo. It's the Zerk Pax hierarchy. Who's gonna be a third, who's gonna be the fourth, and that Zerk pick in overall with some other players in mind, that one's gonna be a question mark for me. Not a big one, but there's a lot of potential that could be there that maybe the GMs didn't recognize, to include myself, and I'm gonna wait for them to answer. There could be trades up on the table, maybe come week 3 for this team, but overall, Bandits had a good draft. All right, we're talking about the Phoenix again. General Manager Lux picking himself in the first round, and you know, 4th overall, not a bad position. It was kind of all the way near that upper quarter, upper third of this draft, so he had to really pick and choose who he's gonna play with. And you know, he got Bobby. I mean, I made a big deal about Bobby in the combines, and Bobby overall, great player. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get his speed and warm up going, but so does every player. And then Lux recognized that JCC was still being left on the table, so went and snagged him. Great pickup, great bit of vision to be able to go and get him off the board. And then Jumper rounding out the group. He didn't perform too well in the previous season, but still able to kind of work with any of the 4-man sets, maybe minimalized to just doing his 2 matches and then getting the heck out of Dodge. But the 3 main picks on this roster are actually pretty good. Because of that, I'm gonna give him an A. No mistakes, solid picking, good players. There's maybe gonna be a trade situation with Jumper, but they can maybe elevate him to their level of the game, or at least be a good support for what he has to do for his 2 matches. Otherwise, JCC, Bobby, and Lux should be pretty good. This is a team to look out for. All right, we're coming in hot, or maybe just a little bit chill, with the Avalanche, led by General Manager Royal T, and this is his first draft. And he's been a player with us before. He knows everything about the Challenger League, which is where he'll be competing, but he's gonna be managing this team. So he took Bubbin first overall for his team, 5th for the first round. And this is actually a great position for a lot of different squads to be in. It's somewhere near the middle, especially with 12 different teams. So around the back end, you'd expect maybe there's gonna be a lot less power players. Hold on, Shinsei still around. He was in that 3 set of Arvo, Bobby, Shinsei, all kind of hanging around close to each other. This is a great pickup. And then Ida Answer on the back end, huge veteran of the entirety of our draft series. Great pickup, recognizing who's still available. And then Kylos, I don't know how he lasted on the board for so long. Didn't perform great or stellar in the combines, but a solid pick. This is one of the highest rated teams in the entirety of our draft series, and the fact that this happened, Royalty had some great eyes, recognized maybe where some people were left on the board. He picked them up, and this was overall very strong for him. Great picks. Fubbin is going to lead this squad. Shinsei is going to be a power player. Ida Answer, he's been with so many different kinds of players. He's going to be able to fit in just fine. Kylos, again, I want to see more play out of him, but they can kind of be interchangeable with anyone on this group. Really excited to see what they can do on the pitch. And here we are with the casuals, led by none other than yours truly, Hail Monkey Man. I'm the GM. I ain't playing this season, which means I got to pick all my players. I started off this one with a bang with Monster because why not? Vanguard League is exactly what he's built for. He's a grinder, good guy, and now I'm just looking for other grinders to join him. The activity level of this man is astounding, and so I needed people to go with that mindset. To that end, we picked up Arvo. Arvo, I've had him on the casuals in the past. They had an epic run during that season. They just couldn't get the crown. Now thereafter, and this is the inside scoop, didn't really know who to properly pair up with. I spoke a lot with Monster in our chat while trying to run the production, and I saw a lot of activity in the chat for Gabe, for JRAS. That's how these two kind of came about. Very even about where they are in the draft, and there was a lot of names that kind of got skipped over. Mr. P, T-Man, Rift, especially Zap, mostly because I forgot his name. And so there were some other higher rated players than Arvo, to include Shinsei, Bobby, Sauce. I'm going with Arvo. It's a gut check moment and a kind of activity moment. It's a different sort of strategy. Maybe not the best strategy, but so far the grinding's gone pretty good. And this is when I remind you guys, it's not a tier of teams versus teams. This is the GMs doing their draft. I'm giving myself another B+ from like the Champ League to the Vanguard League because I had to bank off of intuition and maybe just a little bit of gut check. I'm really hoping it works out. I'm sure that it will, but a lot of it was kind of left to fate. That's not a great way to do it, but sometimes you have to go for it. Casuals, they're gonna win anyway, so no big deal. Okay, we're talking about the Pandas again, led by General Manager HV Buddy, who again had to pick himself first. These general managers picking themselves first sets up for an interesting strategy going into the draft, but it helps them decide who they are going to have as their second and their third pretty easily. This team in particular, I'm going to talk about it as a whole because individually, we know who these guys are. Farquaad is actually the best friend or one of the good friends to J-Rod. Mr. P, if you don't know him, living legend around these parts. Nugs is one of our administrators. HV Buddy is friends to kind of all these guys. I mean, maybe less to Farquaad, but he's gonna get to know him really well. HV Buddy is a chemistry level guy, very mechanical. He's gonna have a lot of fun. I have to look at this team not so much from the perspective of who was available at which time, but emotionally what these guys are going to be like going into their matches. And this is a feel-good team. This is one of those times where you go into the draft, you want to be able to just enjoy your season. HV Buddy and Nugs played each other for last place last season, and so now they're on a team. Now they're hanging out together. They've had great top ends of their seasons. HV Buddy is still at that level. Nugs is trying to make sure he can maintain it. He's been able to perform, and so now they're just looking for people to be able to play around. I like the concept going into this. They may find a little bit of a struggle bug, but Farquaad is currently on that upswing from going from console to PC. Mr. P, great coaching. Nugs, always around. HV Buddy, tons of time, and this is going to be a good team. I like the concept. I just want to see them perform. I want to see them get some wins out of this. To that end, I'm gonna give him an A-. Not for any big mistakes, not any real mistakes. It's just the minus is because this is built on emotions. This is built on feel good. There's definitely some higher skill players that were left available, especially Zap, Bap. You had some guys that maybe can outpace a few of these, but this is a team that's gonna have some fun no matter what they're doing. Hopefully it's winning, but you gotta just stay consistent for the whole season. Otherwise, you know, HV Buddy got exactly what he wanted. Okay, now we're here with the Pirates, again led by General Manager Nate. And I know Nate focuses so much on the Champion League that he doesn't have a whole lot of intel when it comes to the Vanguard and the Challenger League. So seeing him succeed, or at least seeing him put forth some effort into either of these leagues, is a big tell of him and his success. In this one, he at least knew someone who formerly was in the Champion League, and that's probably why it led to him picking Seikl. Seikl performed, and I mean, you may know him as Dante, but he was in Season 5 in that championship that got bracket reset with the Knights ultimately taking it, but he's performed well. To be able to go down into the Vanguard League, he's gonna be able to carry that experience with him, as well as those skill sets, and hopefully be able to, I mean, pretty well dominate. There's a lot of people that were doubting him, and maybe, you know, he's slowly regressing, but, you know, Nate recognized him, took a chance on him, Who we didn't recognize, or maybe just went by MMR, is Bluey. A lot of people didn't really give the guy a chance. He's brand new to our system and to the draft series, but this is two high-rated players, and they were left on the board. They took both. That's a good one. I mean, that's a really good choice. That is, in the first half, fantastic. The second half of his draft, kind of weird. T-Man has now gone from console to PC, generally performed well in the previous seasons, and with PC, he's been slowly getting up. And honestly, I believe that he's going to be a great third. He's going to have to fit between Bluey and Seikle and utilize his skills to, support them and maybe even become a great integral part of them. But Atiz didn't perform well in the combines, and generally one of the lower rated folks. And I don't know, there was definitely some other folks on the board. I mean, I think I would have even gone with Pax before Atiz, also known as UCF Nitro. This was a little weird. You definitely saw some negatives associated with this player. Yeah, you went for him as your fourth. Maybe he's just looking to have someone that's there, do the 2-match minimum, and then just sit him. Interesting strategy. With all that being said, I'm still going to give the Pirates an A, because ultimately they picked up two very highly rated players that are going to have to show they can continue to carry or continue to be those high rated players in this particular league. T-Man, a lot to build up to from going from console to PC. I think he can work well as a third. Atiz clearly has some things to work on. Nate may be able to get them to play together a whole lot to maybe fix them, and maybe that just wasn't his best performance. And can't always judge a book by its cover from the initial first page. You got to be able to get a few pages in, maybe read a new chapter. Who knows, maybe this will be a good story overall for the Pirates and Vanguard League. Alright, welcome back to the dojo. This is the Ninjas now up with General Manager Chills leading the charge. He is his first pick in the first round. He's 9th overall, which means he's going to have to really have a good strategy going into this remainder of the draft. Being in 9th position, you have that nice little double pick cycle. Should be able to pick a nice higher rated player. Vanilla Rain, good performance in the combine, which may have tilted the favor of Chill to be able to go with him, but he left Bluey on the board, and Bluey has a much greater skill ceiling than Vanilla Rain, especially in this Vanguard League realm that's like a 250 MMR gap. So gonna wonder about that. I'm hoping it kind of works out and there's some good chemistry with him and Chill. Rift X, nice safety pick, and JJ, great performer, kind of one of our newest inductees from Challenge League into Vanguard League. So I'm hoping that can fit. This could be a make or break team in the later portion of the season. I see them being more of a mid to lower grade, somewhere in that 5 to 8 realm. But again, the postseason is everything for the Ninjas, obviously. The guys know how to win as a general franchise, but Chill knows how to just pick up some magic way late. Other people lose for him, and maybe this one will work out. There's not a lot of just stellar talent, but maybe everyone will be able to integrate and be collectively good and have some great chemistry. With that being said, Ninjas, you get an A-. Chill, you're doing pretty well this season. Generally good practices and performances for your draft. The Bluey, or the lack of a Bluey pick, may come back to haunt you. Vanilla Rain looks like he's going to be a good performer, and I don't know, this Rift JJ, I don't know who's going to be the proper third. Rift probably will fit in that. I want to know how JJ does on the pitch, but this team, there's going to be a lot of grinding and a lot of good work and scrimming necessary for them to do well. All right, let's talk about some Nova synergy. Again, led by General Manager Josh. It's his first season being a general manager, so he's already making some big moves. And I've got to say, this draft in particular is one of the most aggressive drafts that we've seen in a while. Godskilla, I mean, the Mr. 2-time in the Vanguard League, maybe looking to be Mr. 3-time, doing great works on previous teams, and now he's again leading the charge on this one. Inko, brand new to the draft series, apparently is friends with Godskilla, so they're gonna try and work out the scheduling issues. Some of these guys, when they come into the draft series, they have things that will pop up or be consistently popping up over the course of all of their series across the regular season, and then they'll make do for time when they can. But man, that's a big call to make when you're a general manager, especially with your teams being able to do it off stream. But that's also why we allow for off stream management between teams. So getting Inko, great challenger in terms of immediately initiating and challenging the ball. Zap, some of you may have forgotten, Zap did very well last season, came in with the name Aiden, changed over to Zap, and Zap is on the attack. He knows how to play, great mechanics, and then they followed up with Iceborg. Iceborg being on the Tsunami, he had a very half rotational, very aggressive style, so I think you're sensing a trend. Aggressive. All these guys are aggressive. Does that make for a great team? Makes for a lot of ball chasing, makes for a fantastic bit of pressure and attack. So I can't judge and power rank this team right now, but I don't sense balance yet. This is going to be one of those teams that's going to need a lot of week 1 work. And as a general draft, it's a very good, highly rated team, especially with Gods, Inko, and Zap. Iceborg gonna have to find his way around these guys, especially for his 2-match minimum. With all that being said, B+, pretty good grade, not the best, but it's because I have a couple questions to ask. Iceborg, generally pretty good, pretty solid, but there was a lot of other players still left around that I think could be better. That's my personal opinion, but the same thing to be true, GMs were told about Inko's schedule and how it's gonna work, and you're leaving it to the players to be able to manage that well. It can be done, but postseason wise, you have to hope that that's gonna work itself out. I see this team being very good, very aggressive, but will that aggression be able to balance out over time? All right, it's the franchise you love to hate. It's the Mob, led by General Manager Croydic. He had some stellar choices to make into this one to make up for that abysmal performance in the Champion League draft, but he did pretty good. Venom and Jet Li, Wombo combo, the delay to double pick ends up with a great couple of players. Jet Li has some Champion League experience and has, been relegated a little bit down into the Vanguard League, has no less skill, so kind of like Seikol, it's going to be a proving ground for him to show, hey, that I still have it, I still got it. And of course, Venom, as the first pick, not really too surprised. He's been grinding, he's been doing really good, improving all the way since season 4, and I'd like to see what he's been doing. And some say, all right, this is a couple of people that are in the community, maybe they just didn't want them on their teams. Cool. Croydic, you made a good decision. Both these guys have amazing skills. It's just about, can they work out and have good chemistry to work together? Boss Alien Player is a passer, he's a baller, he knows how to come at folks, and he knows how to make them look silly, and to be able to work with these two, I think is fantastic balance. And then overall, Vokes brings a good weeb vibes, and so I can't ever go against them. In terms of availability, who was around, there may have been some other folks that you could go with, maybe JRS could have been one, maybe even Farquad, but I think that this team can balance itself out. You got the high competition focus of Venom and Jet Li, you have Boss Alien Player and Vokes. I think this team can have amazing potential, and honestly, if you don't take them seriously and they get their game together, they could take you out. And to that end, I'm gonna give Croydic an A for this draft. Very good choices in the Vanguard League. You didn't go crazy like you did in the Champion League, able to make up for it. And even though some people may have some differences with a few of these players, I mean, this is gonna be a tough group. If they can hit it as well as they did last season, Venom was with Marksmen, Jet Li can be that kind of player, Boss Alien Player and Vokes know how to support very well. This is gonna be a squad that's gonna come at you maybe out of nowhere, so do not be sleeping on the Mob. To round out the end of the Vanguard League draft, we have the Marksmen, led by General Manager Marksman, who again was he himself his first pick. So he was at the very, very end. This is a blessing and a curse, to be honest, because you get to pick your immediate running buddy, which is great because he picked Green, and Green we saw make a huge run with the ninjas. Honestly, giant backpack for himself, and he's not a ranked grinder, so he's stagnated a little bit in recent performances for seasons 1 and 2, but we know that he knows this league system. He's been with us for a long time, and if there's anything I never want to face on the field, it's those two together. That is going to be a pressure cooker of anyone on defense. They're gonna be stealing your boost. They're gonna be shooting at your net. Green burns hot early and burns bright. So if they can establish some dominance, get some offense early, that's gonna be a great wombo combo. But of course, I said it was a curse as well. They had to wait all those other picks, the other half of this entire draft, to be able to pick some people. But there were some gifts left to them. Clouds and Fantics, those are support players. Those are guys who are gonna go in with a great mind. All these guys know each other. It's gonna be a pretty chill group. It's just about keeping that even kill, because these guys can start to tilt a little bit. We know that, just in past performances. I think this will be a great group, but this was overall a great take on the draft for the Vanguard League. Because of that, I'm giving them an A. Stellar performance. He does his research. Marksman knows how to get the right guys. That green pick and himself, man, that is going to be a tough wombo combo to go against. I need Fantics and Clouds to be able to keep up to snuff and keep up to speed. We're definitely going to see them be proper third men for the speed that's going to be out on the field. I want to see them do well. This is a Marksman team that's aiming for the top. Okay, that's it for the Vanguard League. Yeah, not as spicy of takes as yesterday's, but you know what? Not a big deal. No one made any crazy moves in this particular draft. There was some good overall concepts, and generally people played it safe with maybe a few minor maneuvers here and there. This is going to be one of the most competitive Vanguard League drafts we've ever seen, and I can't wait for the season to get started so I can see how that leaderboard is going to begin to shape up. Remember, we're going to do power rankings here soon, so keep on the lookout for the podcast. And of course, there's one more league to do, Challenger League. It'll be up tomorrow. Even if it's late, please forgive me. It takes time to do these. But either way, I'm Hail Monkey Man. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you again next time.